Good morning and welcome to the Talk of the Town. My guest this morning is Dr. Rohan Nethsinghe, Professor in Music Education, also the newly appointed Vice Chancellor of the University of Visual and Performing Arts. Good morning and welcome, Professor.
Good morning, Sonali. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Professor, society tends to prioritize education in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or STEM education. But across the world, we've seen a tendency, especially in the developed world, to include arts into this paradigm. So now STEM is called STEAM. Speak to us about what this paradigm looks like in Sri Lanka.
Right. In Sri Lanka, I think they promote STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Maths. But the Honorable Minister spoke about STEAM recently. The actual notion of STEAM is not practiced or recognized still in Sri Lanka, but there is a huge process, I think, to achieve this.
Okay. Art is essential for physical, emotional, mental well-being. It has a cathartic, therapeutic role. We're not just born to pay bills and work and die. Speak to us about how important it is for us to infuse art into our own lives.
Right. Thank you, Sonali. That's an interesting question because arts is there in our lives all the time. The sad fact is we ignore the arts all the time. So from our early childhood until we die, we use the arts in different ways. Songs, the colors that we see, anything that we do with speech and drama, our language, our culture, everything includes some form of the arts in there. I use the word the arts because the arts are really important and there are different forms of arts that we use. For example, visual arts, drawing, colors. In technology also we have arts in computers, and also when you engage in musical activities. And there is a term called musicking introduced by Small, a researcher from the UK, and that means anything that you do related to music. Listening, even responding, which means dancing. Creating means composing or playing music. So in that you are engaged in the multisensory experiences. So that's something that we all do as humans, and arts is an integral part of that. In the learning process also, if we learn something, definitely there is a notion of the arts engaged. For example, if you look at letters, the letters are drawn. You have to draw the letters, right? And you have to draw that with a color so that we can see. So we don't consider that as a drawing. For example, calligraphy is a way of drawing. In those practices, we use the arts all the time, right? So the sound is again an element of the arts. Silence is arts. It's music.
Beyond the theoretical framework to the ground realities, in Sri Lanka, countless students who are artists, who are painters, who are creators, don't have jobs. How important is it for the state to take responsibility to ensure that artists, creative persons are given that dignity in their profession?
Yeah, that's the bitter side of the reality. So if you are an artist, it is very hard to find a job. However, as you mentioned, we have to promote the arts. It has to come from the school, come from the communities, and then it has to go up to the government. Now, for example, there are countries that they promote the arts through providing proper knowledge to the communities and society through education. Now, in India, they had this small industry in Bollywood. Now, I think Bollywood films are bigger than Hollywood. Why? Because they worked with the industry, and of course they educated the people and they created this audience through these interesting and effective films that they created. So there is an industry. It didn't happen overnight. It took time, but they paved the path for it. So I think we have to learn from those countries and do the same.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Rohan Nethsinghe, Vice Chancellor, University of Visual and Performing Arts. Thank you, and it's back to the studio.
Thank you, Sonali.